And crew, welcome to the Critical Yardie, where we interrogate history. Millions of people speak Hebrew today, and it has a big, sometimes controversial, impact on world politics. Claim it's stolen from Arabic, or say it's just a modern invention. The real story of where Hebrew comes from is still debated. Some consider it a modern creation, influenced by multiple immigrant languages, especially Yiddish and Slavic, with elements of ancient Hebrew. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, modern Hebrew is based on the biblical language, but incorporates many innovations to meet modern needs. There are three main sides to this debate. Traditionalists, who believe there is a direct line from the past. Skeptics, who believe it is a new invention. And those who believe it is a mix of old and new. To ascertain the truth, we need to unearth academic conspiracies and examine the psychological and moral costs behind the birth of a nation. Ready, things are about to get interesting. Let's jump in. Let's start with Act 1, the historical debate. According to Paul Wechsler, Yiddish originated when Judaized Sorbs began adapting their language to High German between the 9th and 12th centuries, making Yiddish deeply influenced by Slavic grammar and structure. He argued that the people who revived Hebrew in the late 1800s didn't really bring back a Semitic language. This is clear evidence of how the revivalist native languages formed modern Hebrew. According to Wikipedia, most Yiddish and Germanic linguists, as well as geneticists, have widely rejected Wechsler's hypothesis. For example, Hebrew uses 3 consonant roots to build words and adds meaning with specific patterns of vowels and endings. These features make it easy to recognize as part of the Semitic family, regardless of other influences. You can't explain modern Hebrew's use of the ancient 3 consonant root system or its unique verb forms by saying it comes from Slavic languages. The idea that Hebrew is just a European invention is a myth. Now as we transition to Act 2, Linguistic Foundations, let's explore what genuinely distinguishes Hebrew. According to Paul Wechsler, there has been much debate over what actually distinguishes Hebrew from other regional Canaanite or Aramaic dialects. According to a report by Cambridge University Press, one principal feature that sets Hebrew apart from related languages is the Canaanite shift, in which the Proto-Semitic ah sound became o. Hebrew tob, for good, corresponds to Aramaic tab. Most experts claim that ancient Hebrew developed very unique characteristics that set it apart from its related sister languages and form plurals. Linguists call these broken plurals. For example, the word for house, beit, changes its internal vowels to become buyut. But ancient Hebrew developed differently. According to Gesenius, changes in vowels within nouns often resulted from their connection to genitives, pronominal suffixes, or plural and dual endings, rather than from the kind of internal vowel shifts common in some related languages. In Hebrew, the word bait becomes batim. Although Hebrew originally featured distinctive case endings, like those of other Semitic languages, these endings gradually fell out of use over time, according to encyclopedia.com. This evolution is one factor in Hebrew's lasting identity, even as Imperial Aramaic became dominant in the ancient Middle East. Transitioning into Act 3, the revival process, let's examine the long silence of the Hebrew language. For 1,700 years, no one spoke Hebrew as their first language. It survived only in prayers and among scholars far from its homeland. So, what problems did the pioneer Eliezer ben Yehuda face when bringing Hebrew back to the streets? And how did people react? When Ben Yehuda moved to Jerusalem in 1881 to resurrect the language, he encountered immense pushback. We are talking about strong, sometimes violent resistance from ultra-Orthodox groups. According to Reuven Chaim Klein, Lashon HaKodesh is regarded as sacred and traditionally reserved for sacred contexts, but there is no documented evidence in his work of people being reported to authorities or imprisoned for using it in everyday activities. But the true tragedy of the revival wasn't the public violence. It was the private, psychological horror occurring inside Ben Yehuda's own home. This is where we see the devastating effects of moral injury, the serious psychological damage that occurs when a person's actions transgress their deepest moral beliefs and ethical codes. Consider a soldier ordered to do something that violates their conscience, or a healthcare worker forced to deny care to someone in need because of policy. Moments that leave scars inside long after the event. That same kind of hidden pain played out inside Ben Yehuda's own home. Eliezer ben Yehuda was determined that his son, Itamar ben Avi, would be the first native Hebrew-speaking child in the modern era, according to Wikipedia. However, there is no evidence that the boy was subjected to extreme or agonizing isolation. We explain these events today as a form of developmental trauma. Ben Yehuda raised his son speaking only Hebrew and avoided exposing him to other languages during childhood, even going so far as to reproach his wife for singing a cradle song in Russian, according to Wikipedia. Eliezer Ben Yehuda and his wife, Deborah, moved from Russia to Palestine in the late 19th century and chose to speak only Hebrew in their new home, a decision that would have a lasting effect on their family as they became part of the movement to revive the ancient language, according to the Los Angeles Times. This decision gave rise to significant emotional distress and communication difficulties among the first generation of Hebrew speakers, a phenomenon linked to acculturative stress in immigrant families, according to the National Center for Biotechnology Information. Finally, with Act 4, Evidence, we examine historical proof. The skeptics and biblical minimalists spent decades claiming that King David was just a myth, a Hebrew King Arthur, and that the ancient kingdom was a fiction. They demanded a smoking gun, and the desert delivered. We all know the famous 1993 discovery of the Tel Dan Stela, the 9th century BCE monument in which the enemy Aramean king Hasdrubal explicitly boasts about killing the king of the house of David. But the evidence goes far beyond just one victory stone. Are there other important discoveries that support the antiquity of the language and the existence of these biblical figures? Yes. First, we have the Mesha Stele, an ancient Moabite stone carved in the 9th century BCE that also contains a widely debated yet highly significant reference to the House of Massive. What's next? Drophin. We go back even further. Archaeologists uncovered the Khirbet Kayafa Ostracon, a pottery shard from the 10th century BCE, the exact era King David would have ruled. This artifact provides some of the earliest evidence of the Proto-Canaanite and Hebrew scripts, proving that the Israelites were writing and administering a kingdom 3,000 years ago. We also have the Siloam inscription, a magnificent Paleo-Hebrew text carved deep into the rock of Jerusalem's water tunnels during the 8th century BCE, which corresponds perfectly to the biblical accounts of King Hezekiah's engineering feats. And if that wasn't enough, we have the Ketef Hinnom scrolls. Discovered in a burial cave near Jerusalem, these are two tiny, rolled-up silver amulets dating to the 7th century BCE. When scientists painstakingly unrolled them, they found the priestly blessing carved into the silver, making them the oldest surviving physical texts of the Hebrew Bible ever discovered. These finds absolutely shattered the minimalist arguments. They show exactly how old the language stands and prove, through the records of their bitter enemies, that the ancient kings of Judah really existed. Thus, when considering the origin of Hebrew, the evidence presents a clear narrative, but an ancient Semitic titan, distinguished by its unique grammar and fixed endings. We see a language whose ancient kings were so powerful that their names were engraved into the victory stones of their greatest rivals. And we see a language whose modern survival is a tribute to human fanaticism, a revival built on the heartbreaking distress of a lonely little boy locked away from the world. But the story of Itamar Ben Avi does not end there. Despite the traumas of his childhood, Itamar grew up to become a fervent supporter of Hebrew, ultimately becoming the first native speaker of the revived language in over 2 millennia. He went on to become a writer, journalist, and a symbol of the revival movement, using his unique voice to help shape the identity of modern Israel. His legacy stands as complex, bearing both the burdens of his father's dream and the pride of being the living proof that revival was possible. As Shakespeare said, what's past is prologue. Our languages reflect our ancestors. The sheer, ruthless determination of those pioneers brought Hebrew back to life, standing today as the ultimate tribute to survival. We've reached the end of another video. I hope you found something valuable about the origin of the Hebrew language. If you learned something or gained a new perspective, please leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to click the notification bell. And please, don't make me send future fanboy your way. Until next time, walk good, stay curious, and keep searching for the truth.